Hello and welcome, this is Oldmanpoole. I'll be running through another Quick Constructed today. I'm going to be featuring a pretty sweet deck that I've been working on for a bit now. Mono White. So, this kind of evolved from the White-Black Knights deck that I originally was playing with. And I think it's quite close to being done. I think it's missing kind of one History of Benalia, but outside of that, pretty much, I think it's tuned. This is maybe the deck I have presented to you guys that actually I think is the most complete here. So I'm kind of proud of that. It's mono white. Playing cards like Banalish Marshal, really trying to leverage this card to its full potential. Taking advantage of History of Benalia and a couple of the really good knights in the format, like Marshal, Knight of Grace, Dauntless Bodyguard, and just a whole bunch of really solid kind of beatdown cards. We've got Sky Marcher Aspirant, which is quite a bit worse than the Bodyguard, but I think you do need more powerful 1-drops to really make this deck tick, and so I've been impressed. Well, I think the Aspirant's playable. I do think you want 4. I kind of waffled between, I started as 2 and kind of gradually got it up, but I think you do want the full 8 1-drops. Adonto Vanguard and Adorned Pouncer are other just powerful 2-drop beaters. Adorned Pouncer scales particularly well with Banalish Marshal and is powerful in the late game. Vanguard's nice because it's resilient to removal, can be very hard for your opponent to interact with over the first couple of rounds. We're playing 2 combat tricks. I've seen a couple of other mono white lists or aggressive decks that are running things that are like group anthem effects, and I found that actually the individual combat tricks matter a lot more. Your opponent usually has to be playing cards to try and interact with your threats, so a lot of times they have to tap out in their turn. It means that cards like this don't run into removal quite as often. Or you can wait until they try and remove it and then use one of your pump effects, which is powerful. I'm actually playing 4, that might be like 1 too many, but it's pretty rare that I draw more than I'm happy with. They always can kind of point, or end up being an extra couple points of damage to the face if you need them to as well. Baffling End is good, also a card that maybe we could cut 1 of, but removing early creatures of our opponents, good blockers, etc. is good, and the rider that's only converted mana cost 3 or less doesn't matter a lot of the time since you're trying to play pretty quick games. I've actually really liked Territorial Hammerskull. This was originally a 4 of in the deck, and it hurt me every time I had to cut one. It's really solid. Like, being able to remove a blocker meant that a lot of time my opponent had to use removal on this, which saved our Banalish Marshals from bad fates. And I think this deck actually fares fairly well if you scale it down into sort of a budget deck. There are a lot of uncommons, which is tough, but things like History of Benalia, Banalish Marshal, a lot of stuff you can replace for other powerful effects like the Hammerskull. I would not be unhappy to have more of this, but I'm not sure that there's really space in the deck for it, unfortunately. Got 2 Ixalan's Bindings, which can deal with troublesome permanents. Frequently, I end up using this on my opponents, like cast outs or their own bindings, and getting back something like a Banalish Marshal later in the game can be very good. We're running 1 Lyra Dawnbringer and 1 Angel of Sanctions. Angel of Sanctions is kind of another Ixalan's Binding, one more, a little bit of a trump card. A Lyra Dawnbringer is really, I'm not sure if she deserves to be in the deck, honestly, but she is so good against mono red, and I think that the mono red matchup is kind of a toss-up, that if you ever get to resolve Lyra, it's almost a game winner. It's really hard for them to answer. Yeah, we're running 4 Shvet Dunes. I played around a little bit with Field of Ruin. I actually don't think there's a whole lot of cards in the format that you really need to hit, and having the maximum number of white sources for things like Banalish Marshal is nice, although I could see playing 1 or 2 of those as well. Alright, that's the deck. Before we really jump in, I want to remind everyone to subscribe if you haven't already. I put out videos every Tuesday and Saturday. I've generally been doing arena videos Saturdays, and then on Tuesday I will post a Magic Online draft. Hopefully Arena starts supporting better, more consistent Dominaria drafts, and maybe I'll be able to show those off a little bit more for you guys, but that hasn't happened quite yet. To those of you that have subscribed, I really do appreciate it. It helps me get noticed on YouTube, really helps support the channel. I really appreciate everyone that comments, everyone that likes the videos. You guys are the best. I really cannot believe how much we've grown over the last month or so, and that's all thanks to you guys. So thanks so much, keep it up, and I'll keep providing great content. Let's jump into match 1. So this is actually the first time I've actually done this in a Quick Constructed queue. I played a lot of one-off matches. I kind of had intended actually to do a Quick Constructed before I showed it off to you guys in its full glory, but I never quite got there, I guess. I think this hand's playable. It's a little bit rough because we don't have a 2-drop, but we have a good number of draws that give us a 2 as well, so. And any hand that starts off with a 1-drop is pretty solid here. Dauntless Bodyguard definitely does double duty in this deck. I feel like our volume's a little bit loud. I'm gonna this down some. Hopefully you guys can still hear everything. It's always a little bit tough for me to tell how it's actually going to register in the final video, so hopefully this sounds good to you guys. I know that my last Constructed League actually wasn't super well received, featuring the Scarab God, so I'm always on the lookout for things that can make the channel better. If you guys have any suggestions, definitely let me know. Okay, I think we're going to play History of Benalia here. Territorial Hammer Skull will be a pretty solid follow-up here, but let's keep getting in damage. Should have attacked before I played the history, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. It still feels really loud. I'll double check my volume after this game, so hopefully if I'm deafening you guys, it won't last too long. Okay, we'd really like the Wayfinder to miss here. Hitting a land would be much more preferable for us. Vraska's Contempt off the top. Solid card. Doesn't answer our History of Benalia particularly well, but definitely not something I think you're ever unhappy about. So, drawing a land there's a little bit unfortunate. I'd like to be able to play the Hammer Skull, and we could do that in setup. I think I like swinging with Adamant Will a little bit better. We're going to have a pretty strong swing next turn with History of Benalia, assuming my opponent just plays like a blocker or Vraska's Contempt. And Adamant Will allow us to force through the Wayfinder here. We could... we just... I was going to say, we could just let it die, but I don't think that's correct. Alright, so... I imagine this is some variety of Explore deck. This is one of my favorite decks in the format. I'm not sure it ends up being... like completely tier 1, but it's really, really fun. It was the first deck I made in Arena, and I loved it. We had a tough matchup against Mono Red, unless you could get a, can't think of what it's called all of a sudden, the Wildwood, maybe? The 1/3 that gains you life every time you explore. If that survived, it was really hard to lose, but if you didn't land that or it died, it was tough. Okay. Another History of Benalia. Gonna hit for a fair amount here. It's possible my opponent just wants to trade off his Dauntless Bodyguard. We could Ixalan's Binding, but I don't think we need to necessarily. One of my problems with Territorial Hammer Skull is I feel like I very rarely... This is a little bit interesting. So we could just Binding, probably should. It's unlikely my opponent can remove all of our blockers. What could they have? -2/-2 to the team would be bad. That's definitely something these decks can play. On the other hand, let's see, they're going to play, say, one Explore card, they kill off the Dauntless Bard, or probably a Knight. Next, if we have Territorial Hammer Skull in play, next turn Ixalan's Binding, we probably can force at least one attacker through. I actually think that might be a little bit better. This is also nice because it's resistant to the -2/-2. Man, I'm killing myself with names today. The Golden Vraska card. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you're shrieking at the screens. But this puts my opponent in a tough spot. Territorial Hammer Skull, unless they can kill it outright, which is not going to be easy with Chupacabra, is not only a threat on its own, but kind of removes. It's kind of like 2 threats in one. So they're going to get to snipe here. They're probably hoping to find a land, which they did. In which case they maybe can play another Explorer threat. Hope to... I guess not even then. Yeah. Okay. Managed to run over that. Yeah, I don't know. I wish there were just a couple more Explorer cards that really could get there. Because I think that deck is so sweet. It's just, it feels like it's missing a little bit in the early game to really keep you alive against the more aggressive decks. I'm gonna check my sound real fast and I'll be right back. Okay, I fiddled around with my sound. I'm not sure if I'm having a bug with Arena, actually, or if I need to figure out something system side. I'm not sure exactly what would have changed, but anyway, hopefully this sounds better. I changed it and relogged in and it got way, way quiet. So, not sure. Hopefully it's loud enough that you guys can kind of hear what's going on. Yeah, it's still kind of loud. I don't know. Hopefully it's not obnoxious. Hopefully this is not destroying the video. Let's go ahead and keep this. This hand looks quite good. I like me 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop. And then even with the potential of playing a 4 thereafter, although we would have to hit 2 lands for that to be the case. Let's end turn. Okay, Llanowar Elves. That's very good turn 1 play. Potentially can blank a lot of our powerful starts if they just have something like a... Oh, hello. Steel Leaf Champion. It can be pretty tough for us to fight through. Mono green, I think, is... And actually the Dinosaurs matchup, both of the green matchups are not my favorite for this deck. I think they go just a little bit over our head, and it can be hard for us to actually get the job done. I don't know, now my audio feed's looking really... I don't know, I want to turn it down just a little bit. Hopefully you guys can hear what's going on. Okay, Hullar, pretty good. Doesn't quite blank us, which is nice, but pretty good. Looks like my opponent's playing some sort of a sweet, like, kicker deck, I guess? I don't know, I'm still just paranoid about my audio here. Okay, Banalish Marshal with the Plains is pretty nice. I think we're just going to play that here and swing in. I'm happy to trade the Dauntless Bodyguard away for Hullar. Let's go ahead and attack. Dauntless Bodyguard is just so solid. The 2/1 body is exactly what this deck wants, and then being able in the late game to turn into something that like saves your Banalish Honor Guard is really, really, really potent. Okay, so what are we worried about here? Grand Warlord Rada. Okay, that's pretty sweet. Opponent's gonna get to swing in, probably play a second threat. Guess I shouldn't F6 in case they try and kill a Vanguard. Oh, that's probably not real likely. I think we're still just going to play the race here. I'm a little bit worried this is going to be tough for us. If they just feel like a solid, like a Braid or something, then we might be in trouble pretty quick. It's kind of what I mean, though. Their cards just tend to be a little bit faster than ours. We don't have a great way to deal with Llanowar Elves incredibly early. We do have a... Oh, man. Heart's Day. Sudden Disappearance? Something like that. We're not blocking here, certainly. Okay, we got into 14. Okay, Bloodstone Goblin I'm okay with. Quite a bit worse than something like a Braid, at least. Ooh, another Marshal. Yeah, okay. I mean, we're getting in there. How much damage can my opponent realistically do to us next turn? If they play, like, another haste creature, say, like Skizix, I could definitely see this deck playing Skizix. That's 5... 9, 10 from Hellar. That's actually lethal if they had a Skizix. On the other hand, we play this, we're swinging for quite a bit, right? Because this is going to be 5, 9, so they're going to have to chump block, which means Skizix is no longer lethal. No, Skizix is still exactly right. 5, 10... No, actually one short then, I think. Am I doing that math right? I'm not 100% sure. 5 from Hullar, 5 from Skizix. Yeah, I think we're good with that. I think that Marshal draw was pretty busted there. Although Marshal in general is a pretty busted card, so... I was doing fairly well in just random constructed games, playing this deck with only 2 Marshals and 1 History of Benalia, and it still was just fine, so... I have to imagine that when it's actually fleshed out, and this is the first time I'm playing with the full regiment of Marshals, thanks to finally opening up the vault again. But Marshals are pretty busted. Okay, Untamed Kavu. That's not gonna do it. I guess my opponent could still have a follow-up, though, with Rada. Kavu's good. We don't have a great answer to it. Right now we're just chump attacking into it. One says good game. Okay. That should be enough then. No way to make mana. We can just get in there. A good game to my opponent. It was close. I think this definitely could have gone poorly. Yeah. Skizix was scary. I think we drew exceptionally well that game, and it kind of worked out for us, but I could have definitely seen us losing that. Okay, 2-0, happy for the start. Let's see match 3. Haven't had to deal with the terrifying mono red yet. I don't think that this deck is miserably bad against mono red. Have to mulligan this, I think, unfortunately. You really do want 2 lands in your opening hand. You can beat mono red, but you really have to be on the play. I think if you're on the draw, it's tough. Let's go ahead and keep this one. Put that on the bottom. Hand's a little bit threat light, but it's got lands, and if we draw something like a History of Benalia or a Benalish Marshal, I think things will get going pretty quick. Tranquil Expanse. I haven't seen too many green-white decks in the format. I'm actually not sure exactly what this would be. So, we get to learn something new here, it looks like. History of Benalia, fantastic draw. I never get over the Adorned Pouncer enter the battlefield noise. It just does not sound intimidating. Like, it feels like you get some scary, like, cat roars or something, but it sounds like a hungry house cat. I just... Not serious. Okay, that's unfortunate. It looks like my opponent probably had Llanowar Elves turn 1, but just didn't have access to green mana. There's no feeling worse. Okay, let's go ahead and swing with both. My opponent wants to trade. I will allow it. Okay. Doesn't want to sacrifice Llanowar Elves, definitely can understand that. Let's play our History of Benalia. This card is so good. It's... I don't know. It's like an army in a barrel. Just creating 2 tokens and then buffing your whole team. It's exactly what this sort of mono-wet or mono-white beatdown deck wants. Ooh, Shauna. Okay, cool. So it looks like they're doing a Aggro wide sort of strategy. I haven't actually seen a whole lot of Shauna, but this could be pretty good against us. Just building out a board like Saproling Migration buys so much time against us. Okay. Another land's not ideal. We can still keep getting in thanks to Adamant Will, though. This is what I mean by I'm pretty happy to have a combat trick in this format. Do I want to just let damage happen? If they have a trick, it's pretty bad for us. If they don't have a trick, Adamant Will is really nice. I guess I kind of want to make sure Shauna dies. I guess am I okay with that trade on some? I don't think I am. I think I gotta go for it and hope we don't get blown out. Okay. Looks like my opponent doesn't have anything, which is good for us. Okay. And then this next turn we're gonna be able to swing for a pretty healthy amount. We can maybe crack Shafet Dunes as well. Another Shauna. Oh, okay, and Anointer Priest. So yeah, I think it's some sort of like go wide tokens deck. Okay, so this turn we can force chump blocks with Shafet Dunes. I think just going for the Dunes is not a bad use for mana. I'm not sure it's going to get much better than it is this turn. I guess maybe it would be better. I'm just hoping to force my opponent to chump, but I guess that means the Anointer Priest blocks the Knights fairly effectively next turn. Opponent is down to 3. They can bring back Anointer Priest for 4. That's probably not going to be good enough. This is the plan, though. Gains a little bit of life. History of Benalia is another good draw. We can swing with everything here. We'll get in for 2 points. I think I can still get us. So kind of an interesting decision here between making just a big Adorned Pouncer and forcing a chump block every turn. That's going to be tokens. History of Benalia. I think I'm going to do the Adorned Pouncer, just more mana efficient. It's a good tiebreaker. I'm actually kind of concerned here. When you have an Anointer Priest on the battlefield, your opponent can catch up extraordinarily quickly. Like, the life gain this card provides is pretty nuts. Okay, yeah, so they're going to make a 1/1. Gain some more life. Karn actually is good, but not absurd there. Okay, Dontu Vanguard, good draw. Guess we go with Adorned This doesn't really matter. It's probably getting chump blocked either way. So we swing with both of these. I guess just in my opponent's face. Well, next my opponent could... I don't think it's going to change the blocking anyway. I think they're going to block like that and like that. Regardless. Let's just go in my opponent's face. They double block. We win, although I guess they could have a cast down, which would be a pretty bad. Maybe I should have attacked with the knight. It doesn't actually gain us much. Play a Vanguard and History Benalia. And still hoping to avoid, like, Saproling Migration. I don't think my opponent really has time to play something like Anointed Procession, which is really when this card gets nuts. Yeah, Pride Sovereign's pretty good. A little bit slow here. My opponent is holding on. I think we're still in not a bad position, because my opponent's pretty aggressively still got a block. Pride Sovereign's annoying, though. Because that means we're chump blocking with our knights. Yeah. See, this deck just gains so much life kind of out of nowhere. I don't think we can afford to swing with our knights. Just gonna swing at my opponent. Again, I think we're probably just gonna eat like a Sacred Cat and a Construct here, but we can't not do it, so. Oh man, creating cats with lifelink though. It's gonna be hard to win this game. I don't know, maybe I'm giving it too much credit. My opponent is definitely on the back foot. Okay, they're just taking it with the Vanguard. See that argument? They can't actually make another token with Karn, I don't think. But okay, and we're just gonna end turn. One goes down to 1. They have Pride Sovereign, Sacred Cat comes back, gains them some life. Down to 1 card though. I guess I shouldn't end turn anytime we have a Vanguard in play, although I don't think it's real likely my opponent's going to get us. Pride Sovereign's big. And we give my opponent a free card. We're going to give him the Plains. Doesn't actually matter too much. Put a card into your hand. But the Llanowars is another blocker. They're still going to stay alive, though. Like, we're going to eat up a lot here, but one is still alive. Okay, so yeah, pretty straightforward attack. This deck is many things, but perhaps complex is not the most. Okay. Getting rid of my, yeah. Okay, so we get rid of a lot of tokens here. The Pride Sovereign isn't untapped, which is nice. My opponent's gonna gain 3 life. Magic Arena is still bugged with the end turn versus like first strike damage. You guys have not noticed that. I guess we'll just put this on the Pouncer. It's the most valuable card we have. We have built out a fairly sizable board state. My opponent's maybe a little bit flooded. Yeah, if they're using the Arch, I think we probably got him here. That's close though. I think if my opponent had like a big token maker, they really could have turned the corner where they're just chump blocking and still getting value every turn. I think they probably drew just a little bit poorly there right at the end. Cool. 3-0. Still have our eyes set on that sweet 7-0 dream. We got to 7-2, I guess, last time. Maybe we'll do a little bit better. Let's jump into our next match. Man, I love this art except for Karn. It feels like a meme face or something. It's just like, whoa. I guess that's exactly probably what they're going for. But, I don't know. He looks a little bit silly. Karn's always looked a little bit silly despite the fact that he's, like, really awesome and, I don't know, just a general, like, bad A. Let's keep this. It's fine. It's not exceptional. We really would like to have a 1-drop, and we're on the... Okay, History Benalia is nice. Doesn't actually synergize with the Vanguards particularly well. We'd really like to have a 1-drop, and we'd like to be on the play in a perfect world. Ooh, looks like it might be Vampires. Vampires, if we have a fast start, is pretty good. If we're slow, a lot of times you can have a tough time getting through all of the lifelink tokens. I don't think it's bad, certainly. It's just... not absurd either. Next turn, are we playing History of Benalia or are we playing the Hammer Skull? Might depend on what my opponent plays here. Hammer Skull is really nice for removing individual blockers. It's possible that the 2/2s aren't going to have a real great attack anyway, in which case we'd maybe sandbag History of Benalia for once a little bit more impact in the late game. Radiant Destiny, okay. That's solid for my opponent. Ooh, and getting in here. Yeah, I'm usually okay trading damage. Most of the time I think that our deck is fast enough that we can, I guess, pull out of a nosedive if it looks like we're going to be losing. I guess in that case, Hammer Skull maybe loses a little bit of value if we're going to be in a race. Okay. I really kind of feel like History of Benalia might be nice later on. But I guess the Vigilance is pretty good. Okay, let's play History. I think it is a more powerful card, so maybe that's just a good tiebreaker as well. Begin with the Vanguard, and end the turn. I'm kind of worried this is going to get blanked by some random, like, medium-sized vampire. The opponent's pretty aggressive here, too. Okay, and Legion's Landing. Legion's Landing is a card that I maybe should be playing. I actually haven't tried it at all, but in my experience, I'm not sure that you win games if you get to the point where Legion's Landing gets real good anyway. But it does provide a little bit of inevitability. That can be nice. Yeah, my opponent's going to be swinging for quite a lot next turn with lifelink. It is going to be kind of tough. I don't really want to trade off Knights with History in play, though. Okay. My opponent's also pretty close to flipping the Aspirant. I think we're going to swing here. Yeah, I mean, so we could, like, Ixalan's Binding away the Radiant Destiny. That's maybe an interesting line. Makes everything just a little bit smaller on my opponent's side. They can flip Legion's Landing next turn. Yeah, maybe I like that. That gives my opponent much less good blocks. And Radiant Destiny is probably going to be pretty solid in general for my opponent across these games. Swing with these guys. See if my opponent cares to trade. They do not. So we're winning the race on board now. Playing a sweet isolated chapel. Call to the Feast or something could be pretty obnoxious here, although they'll be mitigated a little bit by History of Benalia going off next turn. Okay. It's also nice that we have Adamant Will in hand, which means double blocks get quite a bit worse. Okay, we have got my opponent on the defense, which I like. Really no reason not just to swing with everything here and take full advantage of Adamant Will. And this card is just stupid. Every time I play it, it just always feels busted, basically without fail. So chump block, so I guess we just won't use the Adamant Will, it's fine. I think we are just going to pay for this. That is a cost in a potential, like, racing game. My opponent's actually going to gain more life than we did this turn. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we're just going to build out our board here. The Territorial Hammer Skull is a nice attacker next turn. We are at 10. Like, this is to the point where our Danto Vanguards start just having to, like, trade for random vampires, which is not great. Moment of Craving. Solid. Can't do too much about it. Opponent also identifying that our Vanguards have lost a lot of their value here. Ooh. Getting in and flipping Legion's Landing. So they do have the City's Blessing. They could have the +2/+2. That'll be rough for us. Are we beating that anyway? I don't know if we are. That's going to be at least 9 points of life gain. I don't think we can play around it. I think if they have it, we're just toast. Oh, Pride of Conquerors. Alright. Yeah. Okay, I think we're just toast here. I guess there's no reason to not play it out. But it's going to be hard for us to beat Adanto at this point. We're not technically dead, but we're not looking good. Yeah, like I said, vampires can be okay if we're really, really really, really proactive, but the life gain is tough to beat. And it's one of the reasons why I think Vampires is pretty well positioned as well in this format. Just the 1/1 lifelink tokens really do add up against aggressive decks like this one or like mono red. Okay. Maybe I should have swung with the Vanguard last turn. I'm not sure I actually want to block with the last one. Yeah, I probably should have. I think that was a missed opportunity there. Order of Dusk. Very solid. Maybe that block was bad too, when I thought they might have Pride of Conquerors. Definitely not impossible. Guess let's swing with our Vanguard. Yeah, I'm not sure how we're beating this. Well, it's got a couple of 1/1s, and the problem is they can just make so many off of Danto that it's going to be tough for us to make it out of that. 2 Sky Marcher Aspirants is nice. We're 1 off the City's Blessing right now. But that life total is pretty big. Lyra, I guess, actually would maybe be an out, just as a really big, impactful card. If they ever have a way to get rid of our Angel Sanctions, Sky Marcher Aspirant will probably be the death of us as well. Yeah, I mean, can't do too much. We're just allowing this. I kind of want to keep Adamant Will in play for Angel, on the off chance my opponent can put something together. Yeah, I think we're hoping for Lyra is really our best card. Although Knight of Grace is pretty solid. Maybe I shouldn't have blocked with the Sky Marcher, because then they could attack. I think as it is, though, we're just passing. Yeah. Opponent just making good use of Adanto here, and I think that's going to be what kills us, unfortunately. Although I do like Anointed Pouncer a fair amount. So we play this, swing at the Aspirant, I guess, I think. If we do come back, it's going to be a long time coming. Yeah, the more I think about it, I think we probably could have blocked the Pride of Conquerors better there. I was thinking if they had it, we were basically dead and just out of the game, which we kind of are. But kind of not, too. Just getting in with everything. Let's go ahead and block. Can't do much about this. I think we could have maybe taken a little bit of extra damage and kept like a better creature, though. Alright, we're to 1. Don't love that. I guess we can probably do something with both and pray for no, like, combat trick. I guess we could have kept the Knight of Grace alive with Adamant Will. I think that was a mistake. Yeah, that was definitely a mistake. I don't know. I think I was too busy talking about plays I should have made in the past to be paying attention to the plays I should have made that turn. If they have like Ixalan's Binding or something, the game is just over. Fortunately, they're kind of bricking on plays, it looks like. Alright, my turn. Another Knight of Grace. I think we can still swing for 5. Again, we're just dead to something like Ixalan's Binding with this, though. Which I would have to think my opponent's playing. Okay, still making 1/1s. It's very possible that one of the cards in their hand is Radiant Destiny, which they just can't play again. Okay, hey, we're holding on. It's just long enough that I've got hope here. But this actually doesn't hit anything. We could just remove like 1 vampire, but I mean, my opponent can still just bring it back. So with that in mind, unfortunately, we have to cut down our attack just a little bit. Yeah, it's looking grim. And my opponent's got like anything here. Yeah. Okay, so that'll get Ixalan's Binding. So we're not just out of it. Yeah, I really regret not using the Adamant Will on our Knight of Grace. Baffling End also pretty good. I guess Ixalan's Binding catches everything, Baffling End doesn't. We'll use that. Rest in peace, our Legion. Really don't want to have to use Ixalan's Binding. Guess we'll just pass. Well, you know, I kind of said that Adonto, I'm not sure really fit in this deck, but it has definitely helped my opponent stabilize and keep up a game against us. Okay. So it's only a 1-1, but a 1-1 is actually lethal at this point. Need to find a creature off the top. And there's no way we can win here, I don't think. We play Shafet Dunes and crack it. Makes everything a little bit bigger, go for like the Pouncer. I guess there's no reason not to swing and see if my opponent makes a suspect block, although I'm not even sure we have enough. Oh yeah, we didn't even use the Shafet Dunes. Okay, yeah, I don't think it's gonna matter here. Okay, well, we did not play this match incredibly well. I think we probably deserved the loss. But it is a little bit of a tough matchup as well. Yeah, some mistakes were made. Go ahead and concede. Okay, well, we can still get that sweet 7-1 dream, right? 7-1. I feel it. Okay, I'll see you guys for next match. I'm not sure exactly why I always say see you guys for the next match. I guess just a holdover habit from Magic Arena, or sorry, Magic Online, where it feels like there's a little bit more of a gap in play. Hand straight, let's go and keep. Again, you're really hoping for that 1-2-3 curve, I think, with this deck. So pretty much any hand that's got at least 2 lands and a 1-2-3, you're pretty happy to keep. And this even has the upside of having a good combat trick. Okay, alright. This can be a little bit rough. Again, I don't hate the mono red matchup, but it's really draw or play dependent. Because whoever can dictate that they're on the offense just has a huge value. So unfortunately we can't really block Soulscar Mage here. Okay, no. Can't block it for a number of reasons, I suppose. Although I guess Shock isn't actually in the Magic Online or Magic Arena metagame. Okay, Knight of Grace is pretty good. Hopefully my opponent does not have an answer for it. One of the merits of this deck is a lot of our plays are just a little bit better at blocking or a little bit bigger than my opponent's. Ooh, and actually this isn't mono red. Looks like it's one of the blue-red variants, which I actually think is a little bit worse. Okay, Cartouche of Knowledge is pretty solid there, though, especially because my opponent gets to actually resolve it. This card is dangerous if you're playing into open mana on your opponent's side. Wizard's Lightning. Alright. Yeah, we're getting beaten down pretty aggressively here. That was a pretty impactful turn 3. Don't think there's anything that really changes here. I'm just gonna play that Hammer Skull, I think. I'd rather it get killed than the Marshal. They're both good at blocking Lava Runner. Yeah. Maybe I should just play Marshal there because it's a little bit more impactful. Opt. Okay. So that's going to help hit us for a little bit this turn. Sorry for the audio cut there. I sneezed. But hopefully you guys can still see what's going on. So we did not hit a land, unfortunately. We are holding off the ground forces, which are good. I kind of want to keep up Moment of Triumph, although I guess we're maybe not quite to the point where we need the life gain. In that case, Marshal's a better blocker than either of these two. We're a little bit a ways from having flying still. Although I guess that costs us a life, which is maybe not irrelevant. Okay. Okay, yeah, we're firmly on the defensive here. And we have to find a land to deal with the Flying Soulscar Mage. We do have a better board state than my opponent, though. Vanquisher's Banner. On Wizards, I guess. Okay. That's actually was very unexpected. 5-cost card in this deck. But that's pretty gross. Everything on my opponent's side gets huge, and they prowess triggers. Ouch. Yeah, I mean... ouch. Okay, so... we're blocking, I guess... something like that. Taking 7, or we can chump block with the Vanguard. So that's gonna die. We are taking 2 in the air next turn if we don't find removal. Alright, so I think we do chump block. Hope to find planes. We're gonna need my opponent to have a lot of bricks to find our way out of this game, though. Okay, and that will not do it. That's okay, though. Yeah. We had a good start. Managed to lose a couple matches in a row. I think last game we maybe could have won with a little bit cleaner play. That one was tough, though. My opponent had a very commanding start and was on the play. And hopefully this won't be the end of the series. We had great aspirations for that sweet 7 wins. Still could definitely get there. Okay, good hand, not great. Does have that 1-2-3 we were talking about, which is so important for your aggressive decks. For those of you that maybe would consider building this in Arena yourself, one of the advantages this has is Arena really does encourage you to grind. It wants you to get at least, I think, 4 wins per day to kind of get the most out of your rewards package. And this deck does play quickly. Something compared to like one of the control decks, you're playing like Approach. It can be really fun games, but they do also tend to take a lot longer. Alright, Storm Tamer is solid. I don't think we can really avoid just trading here. Okay. And we'll play the Pouncer. And then next turn, History of Benalia. And hope to find like a 2 or a 3 drop to follow it up with. Getting in on the beatdown as well. Okay, just for chart, of course, though, which I can expect. Let's cast History. Looks like my opponent... We went first. They may be stuck on a second color. It might be mono blue. I haven't seen a mono blue deck in this format, but there's a lot of creative decks flying around, too, so it's not impossible. Alright, Curious Obsession's kind of sweet. Hopefully we're just going to be able to kill my opponent before they can really take advantage of the massive, like, wealth of cards. Okay. I guess my opponent thought we were going to be able to kill them before they got to that massive wealth of cards. Felt a little bit premature, but yeah, I don't think we had shown my opponent anything too overwhelming. Cool, though. I like wins. 4-2. I don't know. I've always been of the mindset that you really don't concede until you're pretty sure, like, basically beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're not going to win. Even then, sometimes I have my opponent kill me. But everyone's time is different values as well, and sometimes you look at it, it's like, you know, I don't think I'm going to win this game, and I have better things. I want to have more fun playing a different match. I can definitely accept that. This hand's great. Doesn't have the 1-2-3, but it does have a 1-2 and then potentially like Baffling End plus something else. We're going to play Skymarcher Aspirant first. Without a History of Benalia in hand, I don't think there's really a reason to play the Bodyguard. Looks like my opponent is playing red at least. Not necessarily mono red. I called my last opponent, or 2 opponents ago, that. They were blue-red. But this is, again, a matchup where being on the play makes just a world of difference. It's possible the Skymarcher Aspirant gets shot here. Okay. Opponent playing kind of conservatively with their life total there, but if you're playing mono red, I can understand that. A lot of the time you're not expecting to get beaten down. We draw a land. Okay. Tackle Firebrand just to kill the Vanguard. I'm okay with that trade. Kind of expected to shoot, and then we have an interesting decision. Okay, Rigging Runner. Makes sense then. Really would love to find a land here, so we could do Baffling End plus something else. As it is, though, I think we're just going to play both Dauntless Bodyguards. Don't really think my opponent's likely to block. And one more Bodyguard. And I guess we'll target the other Bodyguard. I don't know. Something like that. And when I have 2 Bodyguards in play, especially with something like a Danto Vanguard that I'm not positive we need to save, I'm not really sure how you should line those up. Harsh Mentor. We don't have a ton of activated abilities. I'm trying to think of one. We've got Chafet Dunes, I guess. Opponent shoots, just a bodyguard. Okay with that. Opponent gonna get in here? Interesting question, certainly. If they don't swing with this, it's a pretty good blocker. Okay. Really would like to find those lands. I think we are going to use Baffling, and we still have Moment of Triumph to try and sneak our way past Rigging Runner. And I do want to just keep up the pressure, use our mana as much as we can here. Take my opponent down to 10. We are considerably ahead in the race here. Looks like we're both a little bit tight on the land drops. We're obviously a little bit worse. Okay, Rekindling Phoenix is a problem. Is the Rigging Runner going to get in? It is. So we're a couple lands away from Ixalan's Binding. There's not really a reason to swing in here. It isn't like Vigilant though, right? Yeah, so it does blink us for a turn, but potentially next turn we can hit for quite a bit, and Moment of Triumph might take my opponent off guard. We're still a pretty healthy life total too, so not Glorybringer, not Glorybringer, not Glorybringer. Okay, no Glorybringer, that's good. That would have, eating our Benalish Marshal would have been pretty brutal there. I don't think I want to block. The chance for blood is just pretty high, and I really want to keep Benalish Marshal alive. My opponent maybe just recognized that and minus a couple of extra points. It doesn't look like it though, so they have an Aqua Firebrand. Okay. We could just go for lethal. If we Binding away the Firebrand and swing, that's 4, that's 10 exactly. Going for the Rekindling Phoenix is the safer play. I think I like playing it safe. That might just be like a land. I guess if they find like Glorybringer, how bad is it for us? Taking 3, 7, we're unlikely to die next turn. We're going to be able to hit pretty hard because that's going to chump block. We're going to go to 8 immediately. I think we're just going to attack with everything. And my opponent's either got removal, which is going to get... It's kind of blinked by Moment of Triumph. Not really. I have to imagine they're sacking at least to shoot us. And we're just going to Ixalan's Binding, and then my opponent's dead to any creature that gets through with Moment of Triumph, and I don't think they can kill us next turn. It's close. I maybe should have just gone for it there. I could see that. Okay. So, no attacks, and we should just have lethal, I think, especially with Adamant Will. So start blocking, block there. We're going to try and Moment of Triumph the Marshal, and if they respond with a combat trick, we'll use Adamant Will. Okay. I think we just got him here. Cool. Alright, so managed to claw our way through the mono red matchup. Like I said, that's very, very draw dependent. I think if my opponent goes first, they have something like a 70% chance. And if we go first, we're probably like 65. I think that mono red's maybe ever so slightly favored, but it's not bad either. Alright, 5-2. 2 more wins, 2 more wins. The dream's alive. Oof. It's scary though, the competition up here is fierce. Okay. Yeah, another good hand. One of the biggest appeals of this deck for me, despite it, like besides it, I think just being pretty solid, is the fact that it is monocolored, and the fact that it's fairly low to the ground means that I think you got a pretty low chance of getting, like really mana screwed, which is appealing to me. Okay, so it looks like another red or some red variation might be the Wizards deck. I am, like I said, happy to be on the play. I think that's our biggest single gain here. It's possible. I actually probably should have played the Odonto Vanguard there, because that hits a little bit harder, and I don't think we can afford to block. Okay. Especially not in this case. Okay. No second land's a little bit rough. I think we're still just going to keep swinging, though. And do we want to play the Vanguard now? Learn from our mistake, I suppose. Territorial Hammer Skull, I think, is also fairly good in this matchup. It blocks a lot of the 2-power creatures fairly well, and then can help you turn the tide a lot if you need it to. It either eats removal, like a lot of the stuff in the deck, or it blocks, and then and remove a blocker and make for some pretty big swings of your own. My opponent's got to be a little bit scared to just go whole hog here, though, because we're swinging for as much as 7 next turn. Rampaging Ferocidon is a little bit annoying. Would love to find a combat trick, although that may be a bit much to ask. Do we want to trade this for 4 life? I think that attack indicates... Why did they swing at the Soul Scar Mage? Maybe they're playing around potential removal. That might indicate my opponent has a lot of lands, but 6 is still a long way away. I think I'm going to block here. Okay, and make it indestructible. Okay, land is nice. Swing with our Vanguard. Then play a Hammer Skull, and Hammer Skull will get rid of the Ferocidon, which is nice. Would I just trade for Soul Scar Mage? Maybe. No. Well, not giving us that opportunity anyway. Yeah, we'll take our hit. And hopefully my opponent doesn't have a good answer for the Hammer Skull. They are playing mono red though, so the odds of running into like a Lightning Strike are pretty substantial. Okay, Sunscorched Desert to the face. If we draw a land, we'll definitely use a Lightning Strike. Okay. My opponent doesn't have anything it looks like, which is nice. Land Ray Storm is fine, but not nuts. Okay. Do we just want to take the damage here? Next turn we're swinging for quite a bit. 3, 5, 9. They block 1 maybe. Take 2 down to 9 of our own. I actually think our clock's going to be good enough even with the trade. I mean, just like a random combat trick or something gets us, I guess. Okay, they just didn't have anything. Okay, yeah, we're really happy with that then. I kind of figured that they'd use the Treasure and sack it for some advantage. And I was happier to lose the Knight of Grace than the Territorial Hammer Skull. They're Kenra. Okay, just to block. And this is what I mean, like, their cards are just so much better when they're beating down, and the same goes for our cards. So if you ever can get the lead, it's hard for your opponent to really take it back. Baffling End is pretty solid. Let's go ahead and tap correctly. Not that I don't think it matters too much. Alright, and now we just have a pretty disgusting attack here. Let's get rid of, I guess the Soul Scar Mage. It's a little bit more annoying of a blocker. We'd rather have my opponent jump block with the Kenra. Or not at all. Okay. Cool. And managed to eat another mono red deck. I know I've said it a bunch, but I cannot stress how important it is to be on the play in that matchup. Alright, it all comes down to this. We are 6-2. That's 7 wins on the line. Just like our last series. Can we go the distance? Can we go the distance? I do think this deck, like I said, can have the potential to be a budget deck, or at least a deck that you can start out budget and kind of work towards. It's fairly low on rare requirements. The only one that I think is really, really absurd is a Benalish Marshal. You don't need History of Benalia, even though it is very good, and you don't need the Anointed Pouncer. Sounds pretty bad, honestly. We're kind of hoping to find one of these top-end cards. Opponent's going first. I think I'm going to keep... This is not an exciting hand. But you can play a whole lot of, like, the random Amonkhet cards. Like, I started out with the, like, Gustwalker in this deck. Actually, I guess the very first iteration of this deck was an Exert deck. It was red-white and took advantage of those cards. And felt like between... Dauntless Bodyguard, great draw, by the way. Looks like my opponent's mono red. This hand is not good against mono red. Other than Lyra, if we manage to stick Lyra, he is one of our biggest outs. Fortunately, really just can't block the Soul Scar Mage still. But yeah, things like Territorial Hammer Skull, Oketra's Avenger, you can make the deck pretty cheaply and it still is pretty good. Burning Fist Minotaur. Okay. A Vanguard's great. We've actually drawn pretty close to perfectly here. I guess we'll swing with the Vamp or Bodyguard. It's not going to be able to block. We will trade 4 life for the Burning Fist Minotaur if our opponent gives us that option. I think that this game ends up being... Oh, I guess that was a little bit risky, wasn't it? With first strike on the table. Fortunately, my opponent called our bluff, even though we weren't aware of it. Oops, 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 oops. That's okay. Vanguard is a great, great blocker against Burning Fist Minotaur. Okay. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna pay for it. This is hitting us for a lot, though. Wait, what? Did I just accidentally not pay for it there? I thought I activated it. Oh, weird. We just took one. We paid for it, didn't we? Oh, it's Soulscar Mage. Oh, yeah. That was bad. Oh, man, this card's got so many random tricky interactions. Ooh, that's gonna be a hit. Oh, no. Our 7-2. Our 7-2. It's slipping through our fingers. It's throwing away life left and right. This card's hard to block, too. It's okay. It's possible Lyra can still save us. This card is, I don't know, the real deal in this matchup. I would not be at all unhappy to go, like, land on our next turn. I guess we need a land over the next couple of draws. I think I'm going to stay... I still just can't double block, though. I just want to chump at this point. I maybe need to chump if my opponent's got, like, a... Yeah, I guess we'll put all of our eggs on the Lyra Dawnbringer basket and just say, hey, the blockers are more important. Oh, man, I can't believe I fell for the Soulscar Mage. Yeah, that was less than ideal. Okay, Magma Spray is fine. I think if my opponent doesn't play anything else before combat, we block the Burning Fist Minotaur. Okay, Wizard's Lightning to the face. I guess now we block Soulscar Mage if they want to pitch something to make the Burning Fist Minotaur a little bit bigger. Okay, that's a lot of damage. Okay, so we're down to 1, which means we're just dead, right? Oh no, we still get the Knight. That's right. I was thinking we were hitting the third one, but not quite yet. It's close. Yeah, we're gonna Binding away the Minotaur. Hopefully my opponent just doesn't have anything to trigger the Soulscar Mage. Any burn, we're dead. We're dead to a lot of stuff here. That 4 life. 4 life cost us a lot. Ugh, Soulscar Mage. No! No! Oh. Oh man, I think we could have won that game. Oh, it was stolen from us. Stolen from us. And when I say stolen, I mean that I played badly, so that's okay. Well, 6-2. Can't be too unhappy with that, I don't think. Still came out ahead on the gold category, which is obviously great. And kind of some poopy rares, although New Perspectives is sweet. There was a really cool New Perspective cycling deck that I think I played at the Pro Tour at one point. Go Google that if you haven't seen it. Yeah, cool. Like I said, I think the deck is pretty fun. It's kind of linear, because that it's kind of fast, which is nice if you're trying to grind out some games and just getting your daily gold up every round. But yeah, I think it's fun. Again, other cards that I think are fine to just like play in this matchup, but that maybe are like commons or uncommons. Let's just pull up commons that I was playing originally, because I know that wild cards are hard to come by a lot of the time, and it can be difficult to put together a good deck, especially when you're kind of playing the field and want to try a couple different things. I think Bishop Soldier is probably fine. I think that things like Gustwalker and Catcher's Avenger are your best like beatdown cards. Avenger as a 3-1 a lot of the time just does very good work on its own if your opponent... And it's kind of like it's a slightly worse Adanto Vanguard, because you have to choose before your opponent does. Adanto Vanguard means you just swing ordinarily, you don't have to pay the life. Whereas Avenger only gets in every other turn, but that can still be fast enough to get there, especially if you do pick in for some damage in the air with things like Gustwalker. But yeah, I was originally playing 4 Avengers, 1 Gustwalker, and I was playing Dauntless Avens actually too, which are kind of sweet. There are a fair number of decks that will try and put like 1 or 2 ground blockers against you, and Dauntless Aven does a good job of getting it in the air and can allow you to enable like Avenger and Gustwalker over and over. Territorial Hammer Skull is good. If you got that, and you just play a couple of solid combat tricks, I think you can actually get there a surprising amount of the time. If anything, as the uncommons go, I think that the 1-drops are probably most important. Vanguard and Knight of Grace and Adorned Pouncer are all upgrades on the cards I just mentioned, but not crazy significant. The other 1-drops that exist in the format are just really not up to snuff, though. I mean, you can play things like... yeah, I guess like the only thing Sacred Cat I can really see here. Is there anything else that I'm missing? I guess like Enchantment Keeper. And nothing you'd be excited about. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the series. Definitely let me know if you want to see another specific deck. I'll try and start building towards that. Or yeah, any other good pieces of advice that you can give me, either for the channel or for deck building and gameplay. Thanks so much for watching. Bit of a shame that we managed to pun away that last game, but puns happen to the best of us. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time.